Hello everybody, welcome to another podcast of the Pickleball. I have a guest today again, Chinese Jesus, and today I want to talk about you, Dewey, about why is it that some days you feel like you're playing unbelievable, and then the very next day you feel like you've never played pickleball again in your life. So what do you think some of the factors are to that?
Well, if I knew specifically, I'd be unbelievable.
All the time,
But,
yeah.
However, having said that, I think that one of the biggest things is if I get a really good warm-up and I'm ready to go in the play, and I get not warming up my body, but also a good warm-up with the ball. Like today, when we warmed up today, I felt like shit. It's just like, it was brutal.
It was a bad warm-up. We had bad warm-up partners today.
Bad warm-up partners.
Yeah, they don't know how to warm up properly.
Yeah.
So that's for sure, getting a good warm-up. And so part of it is you, okay? So did you get a great night's sleep the night before? Are you well rested? Did you get good nutrition as well? Do you feel mobile? Are you stiff or sore from playing from before? All those can affect your level of play as well. But there's some things that are really not under your control so much. Like, it depends on who you're playing with that day. Are you playing with slightly better people, or who's your partner that day? Are they different people, or who are you playing that's different? So the pickleball is such a fine game. The ball is a little bit lower here, a little bit more angle here, a little bit more spin here, can affect play dramatically. So depending on who you're playing, who your partner's with, and then how the different combinations are going that day, plus your own individual factors. So some days you feel like a god, like, I'm going to dominate, and then you're just like, what happened today? Why is this not working for me today, right?
Yeah, it's a game of inches sometimes.
Yeah, it's a game of inches. So give me an example of when you're playing some round robin play, there's some people that you play well with. Why do you play well with them and not well with other people?
Well, first there's a combination of a few things. First, I would say if you're playing with some people that you have similar communication, so if you communicate well with, like we communicate pretty good. A lot of times he'll just tell me what to do, and then I'll just do it. Other times we you can switch, cross up, and then the other person goes behind you. So communication is a big thing. Attitude, positivity is also helps, and the style of game. Right. So
communication, you're right, is quite a bit. So a lot of times you'll at the net will say, okay, yours, mine, okay, or got it, mine. Or you tell them that, or you're yelling for your partner the out balls out, because you can see it better than the other person. So some people, they don't communicate at all. So balls go in the middle. They don't know who. They think the other person's taking it. They think you're taking it. Service return, who's taking balls up the middle. So you have to communicate with your partner, or even come up with a game plan beforehand. Okay, if the ball's going to be here, who's going to be taking this ball, and if it's slightly to one side of the court than the other. So communication is very, very key.
Yeah, communication in that respect, but also after you make a shot, even if it's a bad shot, you want to communicate to your partner that it's okay. So it's supportive, which actually I'll have to say, you wouldn't think so.
We're getting better.
But he's actually really good about that. When we play in tournaments, he's really good. If I miss it, he's like, no, don't worry about it. I like that. Be aggressive.
Yes.
Which supports me, and it's like, okay, no problem. Versus someone who says, why are you doing that?
Don't
do that.
Fuck are
Play
you doing?
safe. And then you get kind of worried, right? You get a little tighter.
Can't get tight in pickleball.
And then that's the worst thing.
If you're tight in pickleball, you are done for the day, man.
That's right.
You're gripping the paddle tighter. You're trying to hit more accurate shots. You're afraid of missing. You are done. You might as well just go home.
Which rolls into the next point, mental.
Yes.
Because then if you're like on me all the time, then all of a sudden I shut down. I don't want to play. I get tighter, right? And that happens with a lot of people.
Yes.
Right? Stressed.
Yeah, very a lot of stress. I tend to play better when I'm a little bit jacked up and a little bit angry. So if I'm a little bit angry, I feel like a little bit more aggressive. I feel even more competitive. But you got to be careful not to get too angry, because that's when you start getting too tight, and you might be popping up balls a bit too much.
Yeah.
So a little bit of combination of finesse and anger for me. But everybody's got their own style. What about other people? Say your partner's doing something that you don't like that they're doing. Do you say something, or you just let them keep doing what they're doing?
Well, it depends on who it is.
Say it's a new person. You don't know them that well. Are you going to say something to them?
If it's a new person, we're just having fun, then I probably won't say anything unless they ask. If we're just going out for a recreational game, then I'll just like, hey, don't worry about it. I'm more supportive. If they ask me, then I'll tell them, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do this.
I prefer to let them know, because some people they don't feel comfortable, so they like taking direction. Depends. If you have a person that doesn't like taking direction, for me it doesn't matter because I'm the alpha. I'm going to give you fucking direction anyways. If I think you need direction, and if I feel like you're afraid to play certain balls or take certain action, I'll tell you kind of what I want you to do. You can give me feedback too if it helps your game. I'm completely open to that. But to help our game together and my game, I want to know what is your tendency and where should I be in if you're going to be driving a ball or dropping a ball. So I like to communicate with my partner and tell him what to do. And when I'm doing certain shots, I even can sometimes predict the future. I say, okay, I'm going to serve short wide. They're going to return it down the middle. I'm going to pound it. You poach, points over. That happens lots of times. So giving them a play or coming up with a plan is good. And you need somebody who's receptive to that. If somebody doesn't like receptive to my things that I want them to do, fuck, I don't play with them very much anymore. Like, you got to be receptive, as long as it makes sense. If you don't think it makes sense, tell me why. And if you've got a better plan, and I think, yeah, that's better, then I'm going to do that. As long as it's a better plan, but generally I don't see a better plan.
That's true. I'll tell you a story here. Last Friday we played in the ladder, and we played with certain people. And there's one particular guy who likes to drive the ball.
Friday night ladder.
Not going to name names. No, we're not naming names.
We're not naming names.
Anyhow, he likes to drive the ball. He likes to play a very fast game all the time. So I played him against him first game, and we ended up beating him. But because his partner was telling him, he was driving the ball, his partner said, stop driving the ball. Not yelling at him, but really like telling him not to do it.
He was speeding it up too much.
And to the point where I knew where he was going to go.
He was predictable. He was too predictable.
Yeah.
You know it was a speed.
But I also play against him, so I know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So I already knew when his partner started yelling at him, I knew right away, shut down. So then we were going to win. Anyway, we ended up winning. Next game, we rotated. He played with me. So I thought to myself, to go back to our first point previously, I said to him, you do you. I don't care what you do.
You do you.
You do you. You drive the fuck out of it. You drive it fast, play fast. And I'll just be ready for the speed up.
You were just ready.
So I wanted to support him and I knew because he was already like kind of negative, that already felt down. So I said, I'm going to support you and I'm going to do whatever it is to bring you up.
That's
we
so mature.
crushed him. He was on fire. He was driving the ball, playing fast, and I was just ready. And we beat him.
That's so mature. That's why he's got such a great marriage. He's always supportive, this guy. Fantastic.
Anyway, it works with different people. Not all the time.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
Yeah, really communicating and understanding what the other person's tendencies are, anticipating what they're going to do, having a few plays here and there would be great. But then when you switch it up, if you're playing with a random amount of people, so can talk to people, have a conversation, have a little bit of a plan. Don't be afraid of saying something. Fuck, say something. Some people want some expertise or some kind of knowledge. See if they're receptive to it. If they're not, fuck, play the game, move on to somebody else, man.
But it also has, like my wife were talking about it on the weekend because she's an attorney. The mindset going in and also having a game plan before you go in. Right?
Yes.
So if you have a game plan going in, then it gives you a goal. It's like everything. If you have a goal going in, then you know where you're going to go. If you don't, and you just go in, you're just kind of playing willy-nilly, reacting to the ball.
Yeah.
Be purposeful, right?
Yes.
Have an objective going in.
Yeah. And then last thing I want to maybe mention you've got to pay attention at all times. See, I see some people that playing game, they drift away. They're like thinking about something else. They're thinking about what is my wife going to cook me for supper tonight, or when's the last time she gave me some action. You're thinking about the wrong things. You're going to be thinking about pickleball. Get your mind off work. Get your mind off the home life. Get your mind off everything else and focus on every ball, every action, every shot, and reacting to it. You got to be engaged in the moment at all times. And it's hard sometimes when some people are playing off each other and you don't see a lot of balls. You still got to be engaged, and there's always a place for you to be. There's a lot of movement on your toes. Don't stand flat-footed. Be active. Be ready, man.
Yeah. So okay, here's a question then, where you said if you're getting the ball, your partner's getting the ball all the time, and they're picking on your partner, and you're sitting there. So then it's hard. It's easy for you to drift. What do you do as a person that's not getting the ball? Obviously, you got to stay focused, but is there something that you can do to impart your will to kind of change the game, even though you're not getting the ball?
Yes. So what you can do is you can you can poach with your partner side by side and give them a gaping hole to try to hit to, and bait them to hit to the open spot. And then when they do, anticipate it and then attack it. So try to bait them to open spaces if you can. So that's what Vin does all the time. Down the line, he leaves a gaping hole. You can't help but hitting it there, and then he sees you doing it. Kata! There goes the backhand down the line, back at you.
Yep.
So there's lots of stuff you can do. Stay engaged, stay motivated, and have fun out there, guys. Talk to you soon.